Namaste, welcome to Satsang today. I wanted today to continue our exploration into meditation, and for myself, meditation, awakening, those really became synonyms. Meditation moved from something that was something I was sitting down to do into more and more something I was just being, and that dividing line doesn't really exist, but it can be a lot easier than perhaps we recognize when we can embrace the simplicity of meditation. Meditation, at least as far as I'm using the word, is really direct focus on what we really are. And that is the self, the infinite being, the supreme self, the one, whatever we want to call it, awareness, silence, that is the essence, the essential nature of everything, including ourselves. And it is the only thing that really exists. It takes all of these shapes, makes these shapes, all these species, sentient and insentient things. And once we can really come to recognize that, our life will turn into a much more peaceful exploration of what that self is, rather than perhaps our previous mode of functioning as trying to find what we want, trying to get what we want so that we feel happier, we feel more peaceful. Those things will come that we want, but as a reflection, as an agreement with our peace, our joy. So I wanted to do some meditation today, just to kind of get in touch with how simple it can be. And in the Dissolving the Ego book, there are 14 different names that I've given to the self, the noumenon, that which is not a thing, that which we really are. And today I want to focus on the contextual field. So most people either start off liking or not liking that name, but it is really just the invisible silent field which is in the background of everything that exists. Once we know how to focus upon that, then everything that's happening inside the field, the whole manifestation, our life, our body, our thoughts, everything, is really experienced from a much different place. It's experienced as if it's happening inside us, and it's not impacting us in the same way as if we feel we are someone inside the contextual field. So we're going to do the meditation slightly differently to how I've done it before. We're going to split it into two parts. We're going to start with our eyes open, and at a certain point we can close our eyes. I'll let you know when. See if you can stay with your eyes open, just to push through a couple of assumptions that we have that tend to slow down our perception of reality. And we're just going to practice a very general, simple technique, which is the most direct form of meditation possible, at least that I've come across. And I hope you'll find it as simple and as joyful as I do. So we're just going to take a few moments, maybe 15, 20 minutes, to experience meditation. And before we start, I just want you to let go of trying to get anywhere. Every time we meditate, we're going to feel that we've experienced the truth deeper. And that's never going to end. That's not ended for me. I'm still experiencing it deeper. There's no finish line. There's just deeper and deeper recognition of what we already are, of what everything already is. So you can give yourself a break. There's no hard work to do here. So we're just going to start with our eyes open, and we're going to keep those eyes open so that we don't drift off into a deep state. We're going to recognize reality quite clearly and simply. And as we do this, we're going to get in touch with the contextual field. The field, the context, is the background of our experience. And the content is what's appearing inside the field. So just as if you had a field of grass, there would be a field of grass, and then there would be all the things inside. So there might be flowers, weeds, walls, animals in that field. So we're just going to focus on the context, the background. And as we do that, it automatically includes the content. Our body, our mind, our emotions, our experience is the content. Our separate sense of self is the content too. So very, very simply, just to put it into simple terms, let's just start by noticing the room that you're sitting in. And as you look at the room you're sitting in, you can just recognize, kind of zooming out to recognize the whole room. More awareness of your peripheral vision, that you're inside, your body's inside the room. And your eyes may be looking at one thing or the other, but your awareness is kind of zoomed out to recognize the whole room. So right now I'm looking at this webcam and I'm aware of the room that I'm sitting in. So we're just noticing the field. The room is like the field. And noticing, when we notice the space in the room, the field, as we do that, it's naturally inclusive of everything in the field. Everything in the room is included in what you can perceive. So you can move your eyes around the room, look at specific objects. There's your body. There may be objects appearing in a subtle way, thoughts, emotions, maybe a sense of confusion about the meditation, maybe something trying to get somewhere with this meditation. We're just relaxing, noticing the field, the space of the room as a whole, so we can zoom out, noticing the wholeness of the room, even while we're looking at one particular object with our eyes. Very simple thing. So let's just take a moment to do that. There's the room of your being, and whatever your eyes are focused upon, whatever your ears are hearing, your attention can just be open, noticing the whole room. And you notice that when you do that, you can't really focus intently on any particular object. They're just here, sitting inside the field. So in this room I'm sitting in, there is this desk, this laptop, there is my body, there is a sofa, there's all the furniture in the room. And my attention is just upon the wholeness of the room, kind of zoomed out. Very simple and very effective meditation. Keeping our eyes open just for this time. Meditation then can be as simple as bringing our attention to the field, the background in which all of these objects are appearing. So right now we're just noticing the field, the context, the space in which it's all happening. And here we're calling it field. We can call it our consciousness. It doesn't matter. Whatever word works for you. Noticing that we just have a habit to focus on the content, the thoughts, the thingness inside the field, and shifting attention to the field itself. Subtle shift of perception, just noticing the empty space in which the room is appearing. Very, very simple thing to do. And if at any point with your eyes open, you find your attention has zoomed into an object in the room, or an object in your head, a thought, or a sensation in the body, it doesn't matter, nothing's going wrong. It's the habit of attention to zoom in again, currently, that's all. Just going to zoom it back out again when we notice, bringing attention back to the space in the room. And again, noticing that your body, your mind might respond to the zooming out in a very positive way. It actually costs a lot of energy to zoom in. We've just been doing it so long that we haven't noticed how much energy we're constantly expending. So just noticing the space in the room, recognizing already you can notice the field no matter what your ears are hearing, your eyes are seeing. Meditation in this way can be an ongoing thing, a more and more continuous thing, a simple way of being, a simple way of having attention, rather than something we're sitting down to do necessarily. So if your attention has wandered, just bring it back to the field, noticing the space. All of the objects are still here. Just begin to experience them in a different way. They're just here. The objects are just here, appearing in the field. And as we practice this very simple meditation, again with our eyes open for now, you can notice that our body, our thoughts just begin to be experienced more and more like all the other objects in the room. They're just here. They're not so much my thoughts, my body. They're just thoughts. So just this very simple but profound and effective meditation. Simply noticing if you've zoomed in. And if you have, bringing attention back to the field, the background, the context itself, in which the room and your body is appearing. Very, very powerful, very, very simple, very relaxing. And your body and mind may begin to feel as if they're just slowing down a little bit, relaxing. So meditation is happening here quite effortlessly, just noticing the context in which all this is happening. Just noticing the field, the background. Nothing else to do than that. And from time to time, attention will zoom in, usually to a thought. It will contract around a thought. It doesn't matter. You just zoom it back out when you realize. It doesn't matter how often that occurs, attention is going to zoom in to something in the room you're sitting in, to these words, to a thought, an emotion, maybe some frustration. Whatever is happening is the content, the thingness, the coming and goingness. And we're just zooming back out, noticing that we can already do that quite easily. Just noticing again, resetting attention back to the open mode, just noticing the field itself, the silent, invisible space in which all of this is occurring, which is our fundamental nature. And as we begin to relax into our meditation, if you want to, you can close your eyes. You don't have to. If you like to keep them open, you can also. Either is fine. And as we close our eyes, if you want to, you'll notice immediately again, as soon as you close your eyes, there's just empty space in which there is no content as yet. There's just invisible nothingness, the field. And at some point, noticing that field, a thought will arise inside the field. Attention may zoom in to that thought. It doesn't matter again. Or to a sound. There are sounds in our environment, wherever we are, whatever is happening. So meditation can just be as simple as noticing when we've zoomed in and zooming back out again. Bringing attention back, no big deal. Zooming out to the field. The field is the same whether our eyes are open or closed. The field is always here and silent, unmoving, unchanging. And it becomes much more relaxing, much more enjoyable to begin to focus upon the field. Naturally, as we focus on the context, the field, the background, you can see that it includes the content. So we're noticing the field. We're automatically aware of any thoughts that pop up, any emotions, any sensations. Anything that moves in our inner or outer world is just moving inside the field. The field doesn't exclude anything. We don't have to get rid of any thoughts or anything like that. No hard work. So just noticing the field. Could meditation be as simple as that? Just cultivating a habit of zooming out, not judging ourselves when we zoom in. It's going to happen. It's okay. Some thoughts, some emotions, some beings seem to cause us to zoom in. But as we just relax, allow ourselves to recognize the field. Silent, invisible, still. It is just being. It is neutral. It isn't trying to change any of the content of the field. It isn't trying to manipulate thoughts, emotions, experience. It is just here. And we're simply focusing on it because it's real and permanent. As we focus on the context, the field, just zooming out. Simply bringing our attention back to the field as many times as we notice it's moved. If we get caught up with a thought for a minute, it doesn't matter. Nothing's going wrong, and there's no work to do. Enjoying the simplicity of meditation. Whatever content attention wanders to, a sound in your environment, a thought, a feeling, a sensation in the body. You just simply bring attention back to the field as soon as you notice. Noticing how much nicer it feels to zoom out, and that zooming in is simply a habit that we can turn around. And at some point, as we practice this, zooming out will become the habit automatically, effortlessly. And even before it becomes a habit, we'll notice that you cannot suffer when we're zoomed out. We are just that space. We are the context. We are the field in which your body is appearing. My body is appearing. It's limitless, endless, constant. It's already free. Just bringing your attention back to the field, to the content, moving around in the context. Even our thoughts become an aid to meditation. The thoughts are appearing inside the field. Noticing thoughts, then noticing the field. Just relaxing into this very simple way of being. This is the awakened state. Noticing the field, zoomed out, aware of all the thingness inside the field, but not particularly paying attention to anything, not giving anything any specialness. It all just is. The invisible, silent field is stable, permanent, everywhere, permeates all of the things, the objects. It is their essence. And we're simply cultivating a new habit. Our default setting has been to zoom in. The more that we practice recognizing the field, the background of our experience, the more that field will reveal itself to us effortlessly as something amazing. Right now, it's just a field. Maybe it doesn't feel amazing at all. It's just nice to notice. So let's just take a couple of minutes to notice the field. And during that time, if your attention wanders, you just simply bring it back. Just simply zoom back out again. So, meditation can be as simple as this. And as we bring this meditation to a formal close, we don't have to stop meditating. We can open our eyes, continue to be aware of the field as much as possible, recognizing that just by doing this, our default setting is going to change. At some point, attention will automatically, effortlessly, habitually go to the content, to the context rather, than what's appearing in the field. It doesn't need to be hard work. It doesn't need to be difficult. So I see that we have a hand up already. I'd like to invite, if you have a question or a challenge with meditation or anything inside your awakening, feel free to raise your hand, and we'll see what we can talk about and work through. So we'll start with Rowena, whenever you're ready.
Hi, Helen. Thanks so much for that meditation.
Hi.
Yeah, I find it really helpful doing a meditation with the eyes open, because it's always my temptation to, I suppose it always helps me to close my eyes, to kind of remove the focus from the outside world. So it's helpful to kind of practice doing that. I'm always tempted, even when I'm asked to keep my eyes open, to close them. So I didn't this time. And I really do feel how relaxing it is to, I guess it's like relaxing, but also I get this really strong sense of aliveness, from focusing on the field or the consciousness. And I suppose it reminds me of a feeling that I used to have when I was younger. I used to zone out a lot. So I used to and it was very much kind of like going out of focus, but I knew everything was there.
Yeah.
You know, I could I was still aware of everything. But I found that feeling very relaxing. I did it quite a lot when I was a kid. People would be like, hello, where are you, kind of thing, you know. And I noticed some of that feeling coming back in at points during that meditation. And I think I've had that question before of what, if anything, is it the difference between focusing on the field or zooming out, and kind of being zoned out? Yeah, how do you differentiate between those things?
That's a good question. For me, I used to kind of zone out a lot too. I think I spent most of my life zoned out, if I'm honest, trying to avoid. And the difference for me between that and the awakened state would be that in the awakened state, I'm also aware of the phenomena of the objects. I can, it's not exclusive of, so if I'm zoned out, I might not even be aware there's someone talking to me, or I might not notice something I need to notice. But in the awakened state, there is an inclusion that isn't present. Mind is either trying to notice the field or there's things appearing in it. But when we notice the field, actually, you can't help, like if I notice the space in this room, I can't help but notice the objects in it too. I'm not either oring it. I can't ignore anything inside the field. I also can't focus on it in an intense way, which is what we do when we suffer. We zoom into thoughts and things. So the zoning out was a kind of noticing, kind of opting out of, but it's also one or the other, isn't it? Can you see? It might feel nice and relaxing, but then there'll be somebody going, hey, I've been talking to you. Did you hear what I said? And you're like,
Right.
No clue what you just said at all. So the awakened state is that and more. It's an inclusion of the phenomena appearing also. Because you can't notice the if we take the analogy of the field of grass, you can't notice the field and exclude anything in it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think I've definitely had moments where it doesn't actually happen as much as it used to, but when I started experiencing that sense of, intense kind of aliveness and presence, at the same time as feeling very relaxed, there was that question coming from my mind of, is this zoning out? But it does feel quite different. I know what you mean.
It's the either orness of mind, isn't it? Mind works in duality. It works in either or. It says phenomena or noumenon. It says ego or self. And reality is both, so that the field is inclusive of everything, every way you can show up as form or formless, as all the objects in the room or the space the room is appearing in. And as we notice the field or the awareness, it's just inclusive of everything. That's why it's so very relaxing. We're not trying to choose. That's where that intense aliveness comes from. It costs us a lot of energy to only focus on objects, or then eventually to only focus on the field. So when we stop doing that, there's this kind of a very alive presence, intense awakeness that's here already quite naturally. And we're just moving from the either or way of doing it in meditation to this very simple way of just, it's very inclusive naturally, isn't it?
Yeah, that helps make sense of it, actually. Yeah, because I think, since kind of getting into spirituality and meditation, there's been, more of that focus of like trying to get in contact with the all at the expense of the kind of separate objects or
I did that
material
for a
phenomena.
while, to only focus on the field, but that's actually impossible. You can't really do that, can you, if you actually notice in meditation? I can't notice the empty space in this room and ignore everything in it. It's just, but I also can't zoom into anything particularly in that way of being. That's why it's so freeing.
Yeah. Thank you, Helen.
That happens with our thoughts then, doesn't it? Or whatever mind is saying, it's not suddenly saying it to me. It's just talking in the space of being.
Yeah.
Thoughts become that's really no more special than anything else in the field.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good question. Good to talk to you.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks. Ian or Maggie?
Hi, it's me.
Hi.
Hi. It's really just a comment on that last question, because I used to zone out a lot, an awful lot.
And we all did, didn't we? Trying to avoid our life as we thought it was. Yeah.
And that's what it was about, was to avoid life, avoid any current situation that I was in. You know, if it was particularly maybe stressful or something, or I just didn't want to be there. That was one of my standard tactics, if you like, to kind of zone out and not really be there. And that meditation, I used to, when you first started doing it, I really didn't like it. But that, I think what you just said really is, it's a confirmation. It's almost the opposite, isn't it? It's like you're including everything, because you're really aware of everything. And even though the zoning out had a kind of a comforting element to it, and it feels all similar to when you kind of do this meditation, the conceptual field, but there's something that feels really different about it. That it's much more kind of I don't know what the word I'm looking for, more genuine or something like that, more truth, I guess, or something, you know.
More real, isn't it? Because you're not excluding anything. If we focus on thoughts, or even only the silence of our being, we're still excluding something, some way that our self is showing up. And that is really the essence of suffering, isn't it? And this zoning out we were talking about, it's lovely and relaxing, but we're going to be thrown back into the opposite if we're in duality still. If I zone out of phenomena to take a break, which is what sleep really is, isn't it? Also, I'm going to be thrown back into focusing on the other side of the either or coin of duality. And it goes around in a loop then. Focusing on phenomena only is exhausting. It's just that we've been doing it so very long, we don't recognize that. There's something much more rich and real present when it sounds like we're noticing either or if I say notice the field, but recognizing the field, we can begin to see you can't exclude what's appearing in it as you recognize it. It's just all here, isn't it? Or I can't really notice awareness, be aware of awareness without noticing a thought when it pops up. It's just happening organically like that. I notice the awareness and the thoughts that pop up when they do, I see them too. Or I notice the space of being, the contextual field. I'm aware of what's arising inside the field.
Yeah.
So
That's great. I can really see the difference.
And hopefully then it counteracts, or at least it did for me, that tendency to want to escape what I thought reality was at the time. Because I could experience all of this, but from the restful place of the field, as the field, rather than someone inside the field. Huge difference, isn't there?
Yeah. Yeah, big difference. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Good. Thank you for sharing. Okay, Steve.
Hello, can you hear me all right?
I can, yeah.
Oh, it's a new laptop and I've had to get a microphone for it. I'm sure it will work. When we first started, I soon sort of got the gist of it. I think it's something I try anyway. You know, I do it a lot when I'm walking about and driving. But this what they call it, the field. It's so I haven't been using. It's just lately, over the last couple of months, that I've started to use it and become interested in it. You know, but I found it easy to look at objects and see the space around it at the same time. You know.
Yeah.
But the mind stuff, sort of a bit more difficult. It kept coming back in, and it's something to say about this. I kept going back into that. I found it really hard to sort of settle in. It's probably because that's going on in my mind that I couldn't settle in.
There's the beauty of the meditation. If I get lost in thoughts in the meditation for 2 or 3 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, however long I'm meditating, it doesn't matter at all how long I've been caught up in thoughts, or maybe there's some physical pain in the body, or my foot's gone to sleep because I've been sitting on it. Whatever it is that we're caught up in, doesn't matter, as long as when I notice, oh, I've been zoomed in again, I bring my attention back. You don't have to fight with attention wandering to phenomena, to thoughts, to mind. It's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
It's going to happen. It happens over and over again. And it's only an idea that we need to stop that, or that we can even stop that. What if all we can do and all we need to do is bring attention back to the field when we recognize? Everyone says, yeah, but this particular thought or this emotion or something keeps drawing my attention. What do I do about that? Nothing. Just when you notice attention has gone, bring it back.
Right.
Mind says, yes, but.
Yes, but.
You know, it can't be that simple.
Just going to say that now, yes, but.
Can't be that simple. What if it is, though? What if it is? And how freeing would that be? Every single human being that's woken up to the truth of reality and lived as that has had their attention wander just as many times as everyone else. They've just come to see, all I need to do is just bring it back. So I'm making a conscious choice when I can, when I'm aware, to bring it back to the wholeness of the field.
Yeah. When I sit and sort of meditate or contemplate what's going on, I can get to that point where it doesn't really matter. Does it really matter? Then 2 seconds later, I'm back in this debate or whatever it is that's going on.
So when the debate finishes, bring attention back.
Yeah.
When attention's bored with that debate, what do you do then? That's meditation, you see, not trying to stop the debate, because you can't. you can't even stop attention going to it in the first place. Attention says, oh, this is juicy, let me watch this. It's much more interesting than the field, right?
Not very nice.
Well, it kind of is fascinated with what's going on in the mind, isn't it? Attention first and foremost. And that's okay. And nobody has ever found a way around that, ever. Except for just consistently bringing attention back to the field. As soon as oh gosh, I was listening to this internal debate going on about my progress or lack thereof in awakening or something, right? Whatever the TV program is that's going on in our heads, you know, why I'm never going to wake up or something. Then you just bring attention back. They're just phenomena. It doesn't matter what they are, those thoughts, really. It's utterly simple. Everyone wants some magic key to get rid of thoughts, and I'm saying just relax about that. Just relax and bring attention back. As soon as you notice, oh, I was doing it again. And it doesn't matter if that point where you notice is an hour later or a second later.
Again and again and again, yeah.
Yeah, one more time.
Your last answer.
Bring you zoom back out one more time, then attention zooms in. That's all.
I get that, but you know what I mentioned the other day that someone I had to speak to. I spoke to her yesterday. It went perfectly well. It was sound of the pound. You know,
good.
She was right around with it. But I'm going to tell you a story now. She said, well, we're not trying to do that, are we? But it threw me back. There were like 3 or 4 people who were like, I felt under. I was sort of they were like the teachers, and I never quite made the grade. Also, and there's one of them. I ain't seen it for 20 years, 15 years. But there's that person, I think. Last time I spoke to him, we all sorts of, either at loggerheads, either anything they want, but I always felt.
So aren't these
stuff? Go on.
Aren't these just phenomena that your attention has wandered to a human
That's
body,
right.
To how that feels inside when you see that human body, to the thoughts about that human body?
Say that again, love, please.
So these are just phenomena inside the field, content of the field, human body in front of me that I'm talking to. Attention has wandered to that rather than the field. It zoomed in to the person in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
It also zooms into the feeling that comes up when I'm speaking to that being, or the thoughts in my head about that being or myself. So you can very simply, as soon as you notice that you've zoomed in while you're talking to that being, just come back and bring attention back out again. Noticing the space that your body and that person's body are appearing in, and the thoughts and the emotions are appearing in. You can bring that. Can't do anything about the thoughts, the emotions, and the other being directly, can you? You can just, it's only choice is where your attention is.
I say I can see the insanity in this. I mean, I ain't seen him for 15 years. I ain't never see him again. It's like.
So stop trying to fix the insanity.
Okay.
And bring attention back to the field.
Okay.
Yeah, as soon as you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Over and over again. And it will pass that again, won't it? It'll pass away, you know what I mean? But
yeah.
And
the speed with which it passes depends on how long you stay focused upon those phenomena. They'll seem very, very real while you're focused upon them, while you're zoomed in. And as you zoom back out again, they don't seem to affect you so much, and the person will begin to change their behavior right there in front of you, just because you zoomed out again.
Yeah. And it's like I said to myself, well, the situation I was in last week, it was similar to this, same sort of rigmarole. And it worked out perfectly. So I'm thinking, well, what's to say that won't work out perfectly? So again.
Yeah.
And I try to go.
The only choice you have in any moment ever, the only free will we have, is whether we're zoomed in or out.
Okay.
That's the only thing you can do. And if you don't notice you've zoomed in, you can't do anything about it. But your body will tell you start to feel terrible, right?
Oh, it's horrible, yeah. It's waiting for me.
Oh, the moment you start to suffer, I'm zoomed in, let me zoom back out again.
Okay. Yeah, simple enough, isn't it?
Try that. Try it. Works for everything. Everything.
Okay.
Good to talk to you.
And you.
Okay, Felix.
Hi.
Hi. How you doing?
Good. Yeah, I'm noticing that
Sorry, you've muted. Could you just unmute yourself? Yep. There we go.
Yep. So I'm having trouble with this sense of identity thing. Like when I'm trying to zoom out and be the context, there's like this noticing of like a me that's doing the trying of zooming out, and like it's going back and forth. It's like, okay, I lost it. And this is always the I, right? Oh, I lost it. Oh, I'm trying to be back. Oh, and I notice that, you know, some of it is like, seems like it's in front of me and I can be behind that somehow. Or,
yeah.
But there's still, it's like fused. Or maybe it's just I the whole time and I don't even know what the context really is, you know? It's like an idea.
So if you can't seem to zoom back out in that moment, if there's some trying or something going on in your experience, you can just, if you notice that that's occurring, shift attention back to the field. But if you're caught up in it, there's nothing you can do about it, is there then? And as you give that no meaning, you know, every now and again, something's going to really try hard to get this or to really grasp the essence of meditation. Something's going to be really trying hard, isn't it, inside as the separate I. And as you can just relax about that a little, meaning more and more each day, your attention is on the field and less on this doingness, this trying, this, you know, becomingness that's going on inside. And that it doesn't make the field is not affected at all wherever our attention is on. So even if you zoomed into this stuff that's going on inside, is the field any different at all? Not so much at all, is it? Just always the same. So the only difference is when I'm zoomed in, I feel, I begin to suffer, I feel contracted, I feel stuck. And when I'm zoomed out, I feel free and open. Do you need to do anything more than that? Can you see that something is trying to find a way to deal with the phenomena that's going on, the phenomena being ego, mind, trying to get somewhere? And maybe that's not your work. Maybe you don't have to do anything about that. Can you just, like, if something's going on inside and you're really caught up in it, just let that happen. And then the very next time that you can zoom out, you do. Do you see the different approach there?
Yeah, instead of trying to do it right, focus on the, am I relaxed about what's going on or not?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All you can ever do is notice where your attention is, isn't it? It's either on phenomena, which what we're talking about here is mind, the efforting that goes on inside the separate self, the separate self, the I, the mind, all those terms are synonymous really, that it's just another phenomenon, just another content inside the field. If you kind of treat it like that, it's just no different than looking at a table. Okay, I'm looking at this efforting going on inside the field. And as soon as I just relax into that, I'll be able to shift attention back to the field itself. We only struggle because we're trying to undo this tangled mess that is the I that's trying. And you can't really do that, but it'll untangle itself as you kind of just relax around it and bring attention back to the field when you can. It's too simple for mind, isn't it? Mind's like, yeah, what do I do about this thing that's going on, right?
It's exactly it. I can see it. It wants to get it, so it can grasp it, and then this is the right way or something, right? And so
Yeah.
it's trying to get it. It's all uptight about it.
Yeah. So it'll try 65 different ways to untangle itself. And that's fine, but you can just simply bring attention back, whether we call it silence or field or consciousness, whichever way in is your way in. Emptiness of being. The middle stage is I'm aware of the field in which the chaos is happening. It's just happening, the chaos of the separate I, and then that chaos begins to diminish by itself. It's only our trying to sort it out, our idea that we need to sort it out, that really fuels that. A dissolving ego happens by itself when we bring attention to what is real over and over again. It's just where this idea of I'm the doer holds on for a while, doesn't it? I've seen what's real. Now I have to unravel what's unreal inside me. But it's not your work to do. You don't have to do that. And that just sinks in deeper and deeper, doesn't it?
Yeah, I guess my question with that is how you feel about sort of, I guess, the survival mechanismness or the trauma-ness of that.
Yeah.
Because like, when I'm with you now, I contemplate off of you like your super kindness and reminding us to not worry about it if we get caught up in all that, right?
Yeah.
And your sort of calm demeanor, it's like relaxes me. It helps me relax. Like my system's like, oh, I guess we're relaxing. It's fine. Everything's safe. And then when I'm on my own and trying that, it's like
There's somebody
so,
hammering outside here as well. I don't know if you can hear it. It's all good.
yeah, there's this, I guess, this sense of urgency, this meanness, the inner critic and all that. And I'm wondering how much I need to, or how much it's useful to do things like that kind of heal the psychology so that I'm more capable of being relaxed or being kind to myself. And it sounds like the way you're describing it and the way you're demonstrating it really is the being just or not choosing not to engage with the content is a very direct way of doing that. And then from there, the content, there is so much kindness for that and with that in itself sounds like it would be incredibly healing.
Absolutely. And it became obvious to me at some point that trying to do anything about my my fears and everything, the only thing that worked was to contemplate, to ask if it's true. And the contemplative openness of a question, is it true I'm not safe, just brought me back to the field. So contemplation was a way to come back to the field when my attention was getting caught up on something. And it's not that we're ignoring all that stuff, trauma inside the body and emotions and beliefs, by focusing on the field. We're just looking at the most direct way to heal it, as you were saying. Is it really going to work now to focus on something inside the field? Having seen what I really am, to whatever degree is the field, to whatever degree I've seen that, is it really going to work to become a doer that's trying to heal myself in that way? Or does that already just happen as a consequence of noticing the field? As you said, the field is very inclusive, very loving, very accepting. It can't reject anything, can't judge anything. It allows everything equally to be present, outside in the room, inside, thoughts, emotions, and all of that. And because of that, these things start to heal then anyway. So what did work before becomes kind of counterproductive. As your awakening deepens, becomes eventually there's a point where only focusing on the field is going to really help that stuff, which is what you're sensing now, I think, isn't it? That there's just this, yes, but what do I do about this stuff question? You know, my baggage, so to speak. What do I do? How do I deal with that? And see what happens to it when you just be the field as much as you can. Notice the field. Don't even make an effort to be it. Just notice it, just notice it. It'll get clearer and clearer. Anything that's arising inside the field is the field. Even this deep sense of trauma or pain or whatever we've got going on inside, And from there, it's going to start to just dissolve by itself. There's nothing we can do directly about it, but indirectly, this is an extraordinarily powerful way to heal it. Of course, you know, inside that, we might, our body may go and get therapy or whatever we need to deal with certain aspects of it. And that's part of the healing unfolding, isn't it? But our attention is on the field as much as possible in that to aid that process, basically.
Okay.
Does that help you?
Yeah, a lot. It's like it's a sort of a balance, right? If
Yeah.
there's something that does work that you can do technique-wise and it has a big impact, why not? But if it kind of doesn't have as much of an impact as relaxing and noticing the field, then
So, you know, for me, it was like, if I focus my attention on the field, I'll find that my body tends to do more yoga and stretch more and help itself release these things. And it tends to eat better and drink more water and get more sleep. You know, that's all happening anyway as a consequence of focusing on the field, which helps all this stuff unravel itself, you know, in the psyche that we've got, or whatever form that takes. That's going to happen naturally as you focus more on the field. Whatever that healing process looks like for us is just going to unfold organically rather than trying to force it to occur.
Okay.
Good to talk to you. Okay, so we'll take the questions we've got now. We've got 3 more and then we'll leave it there for today. So we'll go to Colleen when you're ready.
Greetings, Helen.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm great. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. It's been a lovely Sangha, so thank you for this offering. I really appreciated your mentioning the periphery and to be that. I've been doing that for a while, and there's a great way that just calms my physical system. And then seeing that that's really what I am, is that I see the field, an easy way that way. And then I can do that at any time, especially when I loved all the talk about zoning out, because I used to zone out because of the incessant nature of the mind. And I used to say that my mind was like a pinball. I'd see something and it would go there and it would light up and go over there and light up. And
ooh, look at that. Ooh, look at that. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. And man, isn't my mind wonderful? Look, I can see all that. And it was exhausting.
Yeah.
So, not to mention that it made me very tense, because it was like, even though they were pinballs, they were balls, and somehow I had to keep them all going.
Yeah.
When in essence I didn't, but I played with that for a long time. So the periphery seeing and being was very enlightening. That I was that and needed to do nothing about all those other things that were going on.
Yeah.
So I appreciated relating and identifying to that this morning. Well, for me this morning. So one thing that has come up often is, for me, when we're talking about the noumenon and being, there is a great sense for me that is in my heart area. So my heart area is in this physical body. And not, so again, this is, I guess, how the mind works. So I'm trying to figure that one out. Years ago, I heard a yoga teacher say before the practice to put your mind in your heart. And I had this visceral experience of, putting my mind in my heart. And that was a much safer place than being in my mind alone.
Yeah.
And so I think because that's been a practice for a long time, I'm guessing when we talk about the Numenon, that just feels like home base for me.
If you focus upon the field or the silence, whatever we're calling it, the Numenon, it has certain effects upon the body, doesn't it? It has the Numenon, that which is invisible, silent, the field as we're calling it today, isn't a sensation, it isn't a feeling, it isn't coming or going, but it does have an effect when we notice it upon the body, some phenomenon. For me, there was a strong feeling in the heart area, a lot of sensation in around of space and things like that. That were very subtle phenomena. Some people also report a kind of a buzzing or a humming, sense of energy, all of that, from so this feeling can be quite a tangible feeling in the heart, the physical heart area of the body, as a response to, as an effect of bringing attention to the field. In fact, the body can feel very energized, restless, sometimes even agitated because the energy is flowing faster. So you probably find it's a very subtle phenomenon that you've been noticing in the heart area that really is a result of bringing attention to the field or bringing the mind to the heart of being in this case, not the physical heart. And that sentence, bring your mind to your heart, it just allowed you to shift to the field somehow, in some way. And it's okay to absolutely recognize that it has effects upon the body like that. Sometimes very nice feeling has very beneficial effects, doesn't it, to notice the field?
Right, absolutely. It's so it's actually between my heart and my maybe my solar plexus. It's and I can feel energy running, and it is yeah. There's joy and happiness and peace and ease and flowing, and
none of those are the field, but they are natural side effects, reflections of noticing the field. So the more we notice the field, the more we're going to feel those things as we relax into that. The only difference is just to recognize that which isn't coming and going, the field itself. It's never going to disappear because it never appeared. It's not a thing. And then our body begins to really respond to that, doesn't it? It's like the body is like a tuning fork, that sings. It kind of sings in its own way, doesn't it, when we recognize the field? You can sort of this joy and peace that come. Yeah. It just starts as relaxation, just maybe a moment of contentness, but it deepens into peace and then joy, love, all of those things that you're describing. And for many people, there's a very, very tangible feeling around the heart area. And sometimes in different parts of the body, different chakras as well. For me, it just showed up different every single time. It had a different effect upon the body every single time. And that was actually quite enjoyable in the end. So what's it going to feel like today? It's not a feeling, but it has an effect upon the body, definitely, and the mind when we notice it. Yeah.
Okay, that's really helpful. Right. Yeah. Right now, it's like behind my eyes. My eyes feel much brighter, and I can't help but smile. So it's great.
Good. Yeah. Wonderful.
Yeah. Thank you.
Lovely. Good to talk to you. Thank you.
Likewise.
Okay, Cheryl.
Hi. Thank you so much for doing this. It was such a lovely meditation.
Good.
I can relate a lot to what Felix was saying because I had moments of zooming out, and I completely, I just, it felt wonderful, and I completely understood what you meant by it takes more energy to zoom in than it does to zoom out. And that was, and then I start doing the, oh, no, I want to hang on to this. I want to keep this. a whole bunch of ridiculous thoughts about it. That's one problem. Then the other side of it is just when it gets really wonderful, I just fall asleep because I have problems with insomnia. It's probably a function of aging. And it's just so annoying. Like, now I can sleep. Oh, great.
It's okay though, isn't it, that we don't need to judge ourselves because of that, right? Well, let's start with the first one, the thoughts about wanting to keep it, wanting to stay. That's very natural, isn't it? Of course, when you touch upon the field, of course we're going to want to stay there, right? Of course that's going to come up strongly.
Yeah.
It did for me. A real desire. I just want this. I don't want anything else. I just want this.
Mm-hmm.
And those are just thoughts, of course, but they have a particular pull of the attention because we might first set about trying to keep this or stay like this or anything other than just shifting attention, noticing, oh, I'm zooming into a thought again. So if you can recognize, of course, you're going to want that, right? There's nothing wrong with that desire. And in fact, without that desire, you wouldn't overcome whatever hurdles we need to overcome to live like this constantly and effortlessly. It was the same for me. It just became clearer what the best way to keep it was, and that was to not try to keep it.
Mm-hmm.
Recognize that desire when it comes up. I want to stay here. It feels so nice. It feels so nice. But if I do anything about that desire when it arises, I seem to lose the field because I'm focused on the desire, on the thingness, on the content inside the field, on the somethingness of a desire.
Okay.
So you feel the desire
sense.
when it comes, right? When it comes, of course it's going to come. And you just feel it and feel it and feel it. And then when you can, shift your attention back to the field. Because that's the smartest, fastest, quickest way to keep it, is just to bring attention back to it. Because you already are it. Anything we try to do to keep it is going to make us seem to lose it, paradoxically. Yeah. Can you kind of get a grasp of that? Yeah.
That makes sense.
What was the other thing? Just remind me of the other thing. Sorry.
Well, a big thing is I'll just fall asleep.
Okay. Yeah.
And the other thing is thinking I'm not, I don't know, somehow I'm not worthy, or this can happen to everyone else, but not me, not me.
Yeah.
I start getting into that.
So let's go to the sleep thing first. We've been talking about in this satsang how much energy it costs to focus on phenomena only, on thoughts. And we've all been doing that for such a long time. And our body has to live the effect of those thoughts as if they're real. And so when we begin to focus on the field, even just for a moment, there's a relaxation of that massive energy expenditure that we've been doing. We've been pushing this boulder uphill for so long that we don't realize how hard that is, right? So when we stop doing that, suddenly there's this kind of excess energy and relaxation that happens in the body. If the body falls asleep, it's okay. There's a couple of things you can do to kind of get around that, and that is to accept, if you need to fall asleep and you can, then do that. It's okay. Because the sleep that you get from an effect of noticing the field is going to be much more relaxing and healing anyway. But the other thing that sometimes helps that you might want to try is just to keep your eyes open while you're meditating. Or sometimes I would just stand up and walk around the room with my eyes open, knowing that if I sat down at that moment, or just sat in a not so comfy chair, maybe just sat upright so I wasn't so tempted. And if I felt a little drowsy, I would just get up stand up and meditate standing up.
Okay.
Usually just keeping my eyes open was enough to kind of short circuit that. But if you fall asleep, it's okay. It's really okay. It doesn't matter, does it?
Not
Can you
really.
see? It doesn't have to mean anything that's happening unless you say it does. Is it really slowing down your awakening, or is it part of the healing process of the body, maybe?
Right.
It's really how you hold it, isn't it, inside yourself? What does the field think about? How does the field respond to whether the body's awake or asleep? Is it really, does it have a preference? Is it really bothered, the field? Is it saying this shouldn't happen?
No.
So see if you can be more like that with the sleep issue, and you might find it stops just because you're not giving it any meaning. For me, there was a time where I did sleep more when I started to notice the feel consistently, this kind of meditation, because I could finally relax. My body could finally relax. No other reason than that. And it kind of went, oh, you know.
And you slept more in general, not just in meditation.
For a while, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes 10 or 11 hours a night. As my body was just
Nice.
kind of catching up. It's been the tension caused by paying attention to certain thoughts. If we're somehow focusing on I'm not safe, I'm in danger, how can our body possibly relax when we're kind of constantly on alert in that way? That's
Right.
So just let it happen if it needs to happen to the best, unless it's kind of getting in the way of life. If it's not, then let yourself sleep a bit more. Maybe you've got some catching up to do in that way.
Yeah, I suppose it's I have to accomplish something thing, Huh.
Is the field any different whether the body's awake or asleep?
No, not at all.
So that should relax you when you kind of get that right. It doesn't really matter in that way.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
And just quickly, lastly, whether your mind thinks you're worthy or not, here you are waking up, right? Here you are recognizing the field.
Yeah, true.
Good.
Okay.
Good to
Thanks
talk
so
to you.
much.
You're welcome. Okay, last but not least is Sarah. When you're ready.
Hi, Helen.
Hi.
Like, how do you feel like when you are able to, like get this kind of a clarity as to, zooming in, and if you zoom out, we actually feel more relaxed, and it costs a lot of energy by having this kind of habit of zooming in on problems, questions, mind chattering. I mean, like, how do you get this kind of clarity or insights, or how do you feel about that, or it just comes?
It just comes by noticing the field and recognizing clearer and clearer I am that field, and that field, silent, invisible field that I am, is kind of like a database in a way. It's kind of the source of knowledge, isn't it? The source of all thoughts. And as you recognize the field more and more and recognize that you are that, naturally the content of your thoughts, emotions and experiences become higher and higher frequencies, sort of more and more clear. There's more clarity comes naturally out of that, because we're not trying to control anything anymore, or less and less we're doing that. So the kind of clarity that an awakened being exhibits is available to everyone. That kind of wisdom, it's really the field talking, isn't it? When I know I am the field, we tend to speak a different way. I mean, I wouldn't talk like this if I was in the middle of the supermarket with someone. I'd talk naturally, spontaneously, as if I was a separate being again. You know, that's just how it switches. The field knows how to do that. But that clarity is coming, that wisdom is coming directly from the emptiness of being without any effort. You know, it's just natural to, when you recognize that you are everything and everywhere, of course, your kind of internal dialogue is going to change a bit. Does that help?
Yeah, and also like I don't know how to call it, but it feels like piece of information, piece of wisdom, and it comes different every time.
Yeah.
And it's also endless in this way, right?
Yeah. I could give 100,000 satsangs, and each one would be clearer and deeper. And then when this body expires, there'll be another body. Well, there's already other bodies doing satsang. There's so many of them, so many students, teachers, all of that. And it will never get to the end. The field will never get to the end of its capability to express itself clearer and deeper, to recognize itself clearer and deeper. That's because it's infinite. It's experiences it as a human being as a sequential unfolding. So it may seem like, okay, if you listen to me 10 years from now, I'd seem even clearer, even more simple and direct in the teachings than I was 10 years ago. You know, in 20 years, it would be even more. So it appears as a unfolding in time and space, but it's really, the infinite has no end to its capacity. Just as you're experiencing now, right now in this satsang, we're all seeing clearer than we ever have done before. And that will never stop as we keep, you know, we can just enjoy that unfolding. And each epiphany and insight and aha moment that you have is going to be clearer and more profound than the previous one. And that'll just go on forever. And it's just more and more effortless, isn't it? More and more fun in that process.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Yeah, lovely. Good to talk to you. Thank you. Okay, so we'll leave it there for today. Thank you so much for joining me. Namaste.